There's a guy, you know this guy. You could be at a barbecue minding your own business, holding a paper plate that's slowly dissolving under the weight of a cheeseburger, and you make one fatal mistake. You say, hey, did you see the new Air Force One? And like a shark smelling a single drop of blood from 3 miles out, he appears, well, actually, it's only Air Force One when the president is on board. Oh, thank you, Professor. My entire life was a lie until this moment at Greg's barbecue. Somebody get this man a Nobel Prize and a napkin because his brilliance is just dripping all over me. What's happening, Panda Nation? Peter Von Panda here. Let's talk about the new Air Force One. And more importantly, let's talk about the human being who cannot let you enjoy it. First, the plane itself. I'll admit something. I was kind of skeptical about the new design, and I have officially started to come around. It's a colossal airplane, first of all. It has some serious presence. And when that thing lands somewhere, you don't wonder if someone important just showed up. You know they did. It is big. It is bold. I think they said it's only like 20 feet longer than the old one, but it looks a lot bigger than that. Anyway, it looks appropriate for the job, and I'm just going to say it. It's totally fetch. That's a compliment, by the way. Look it up, Gretchen Wiener. Or don't, and let some guy at the barbecue explain it to you slowly. Now, here's the thing that just ticks me off. When you mention this plane, you compliment the plane, or you complain, or you bitch and moan, or you just get all hot in your pants, whatever. Inevitably, some guy has to lean in with a little smirk, the smirk of a man who's about to change your whole world, and go, you know, it's not really Air Force One, right? Air Force One is just the call sign for whatever aircraft the president is actually on. Yeah, we know. We all know. Everybody in America knows that. I watched a documentary about this in the early 1990s, back when we had 3 channels and a remote control the size of a brick, and it actually had depressible push buttons on it. That is not a classified secret. You did not just hand me the nuclear codes. You told me the thing that is printed on the back of a cereal box. And we know it's the same deal with all of them. When the president's on a Marine Corps helicopter, it's Marine One. On a Navy aircraft, it's Navy One. On a civilian plane, it's Executive One. You put that man on a pontoon boat, and technically it becomes Pontoon One. We get it. The call sign follows the president around like you following the frozen burger patty tray. And here's my favorite part. We all watched the movie, 1997, Harrison Ford. Get off my plane. Remember the ending? The rescue plane, call sign Liberty 24, pulls the president to safety, and the pilot radios in, Liberty 24, changing call signs. Liberty 24 is now Air Force One. Cheered. People wet their pants. Movie theater seats were soaked in urine. That was a blockbuster that made $300 million. This information is not underground. It is not forbidden knowledge whispered in the halls of the Pentagon. It played on TBS every Sunday afternoon for like 20 years, right after the monster truck stuff. I watched both. So when a person feels the need to explain the call sign thing to you like he's a deep state insider slipping his secrets that the peasants aren't supposed to know, like he's deep-throated in a parking lot and you're Woodward, no, sit down. Nobody gives a rip. We use the words Air Force One to refer to the giant Boeing that carts the man around because it's efficient. That's the whole point of language. We took a 3-word label that everybody understands and we agreed on what it means so we would never have to hear the 15-minute TED Talk about it from the guy holding a lukewarm Bud Light, because that's the real crime here. It's not that he's wrong, he's technically right, which is the most annoying kind of right. It's that he takes something simple and turns it into homework. If they strap the president to a 787, it's Air Force One. If they put him on a Cessna, Air Force One. If they duct taped him to a paper airplane and threw it down the hallway, technically for those 3 seconds, that's Air Force One. We get it. We understand it. Stop regifting the same fact at every party like it's a fruitcake that you can't unload. And it's really not just this one fact. I also love it when I say something about Iceland or Greenland, and somebody has to say, well, did you know Greenland is actually icy and Iceland is actually green? My mind is just blown. Now, if you actually want facts about this plane that are worth knowing as opposed to the trivia the barbecue guy keeps regifting to you, I've got it. This is the good stuff. The 2 planes that have been doing the job here are basically antiques. They're modified 747s, tail numbers 28000 and 29000, and they first flew back in 1987. That's right. The current Air Force One is old enough to have a mortgage, a bad back, and strong opinions about how music was so much better in the 80s. The replacements, though, that's where it gets fun. The new jets started life as 747s built for a Russian airline that went bankrupt before it ever took delivery. So the most secure aircraft in the world is essentially a repossession. It's the presidential equivalent of buying a barely used boat off a guy whose business folded. The deal was signed in 2018 at a fixed price of $3.9 billion. And guess what? It ballooned somewhere north of $6 billion, with Boeing eating a couple $1 billion in losses. When a company that builds airplanes for a living loses $2 billion on a project, that's not a rounding error. That's a group of executives staring at a spreadsheet the way you stare at your bank account after your weekend trip to Vegas. And to speed things up, they made a decision that I actually totally agree with. The new ones won't have air-to-air refueling. The old ones could top off in mid-flight and stay up basically forever. The new, more expensive ones, they'll have to land like the rest of us peasants. Meanwhile, to bridge the gap, they took a 747 that Qatar handed over, valued at around $400 million, and it looks pretty sweet, especially inside for the videos that are still up if you want to take a look, and it makes it the most expensive gift a foreign government has ever given the US government. Most of us get a gift card to an Applebee's where we'll go and celebrate something special. The president got a wide-body jet. There is a difference between us. And that new red, white, and blue paint job that everybody is arguing about, here's a detail that actually is interesting. An earlier version of that patriotic color scheme reportedly caused engine overheating problems because darker paint on certain surfaces holds heat. So there was a real moment when the plane looked incredible and also wanted to burst into flames. Style and function locked in Mortal Kombat, which honestly is the most American thing I've ever heard. That's the stuff worth knowing. That's the conversation that you actually want to have. Not, actually, it's only Air Force One when the president's on board, delivered with the confidence and hubris of a man revealing the entire meaning of life. So, do you actually like the new look, or are you quietly mourning that classic baby blue Kennedy-era paint job? Just FYI, presidential planes were fluorescent orange before that. And a lot of people didn't actually like going to the new baby blue paint scheme either. So if you're complaining about the new paint scheme, I can only imagine what you would have been like in the Kennedy era. Anyway, your opinion doesn't matter. You don't have a vote in this. And no matter what you think, the plane is magnificent. I saw videos of it years ago on YouTube when I was just Googling the most extravagant planes in the world and saw it long before it ever became American property. The plane is enormous. It's opulent. And I so desperately want to be rich. Let's just say the rich do have a lot of fun. Like I said, no matter how you feel, this new plane is totally fetch. So just enjoy it. And the next time somebody tries to explain the call sign thing to you like he's declassifying information in real time, just look him dead in the eye, take a slow sip of your Coors Banquet and say, yeah, buddy, I saw the documentary 30 years ago too. Peter Von Panda, out.